Hello everybody, Tyler here, all things archery and shooting. We're doing my part 2 of my review of this Ben Pearson Pony 7020 1970 vintage recurve bow. This bow is 60 inches AMO, 35 pounds, and my draw weight is coming in at 39 pounds. We're going to be testing on the range today with 2 arrows. We're going to be using a 450 grain arrow, which is about 12 grains per pound of draw weight, and a 390 grain arrow, which is about 10 grains per pound of draw weight. Okay, we're going to run across this chronograph and see how it shoots, and then we'll do some accuracy testing on it and see how she performs. Let's see how this 50-year-old bow works. Okay, first arrow we're going to test is this 390 grain carbon shaft that we have here. Alright, it's a 4-inch turkey feathers, 390 grain total weight with a 75 grain point. We're going to shoot 6 arrows at this target, okay? The chronograph is about 10 feet from the target. I'm going to be about 10 feet behind the chronograph. Let's see what we can do. First arrow. No read. Okay, first arrow. .154. Second arrow. .148. Third arrow. .148. Fourth arrow. .152. Fifth arrow. .149. Okay, sixth arrow. Error. Sixth arrow. .158. Okay, now we're going to try the 12 grains per pound of draw. It's about 440 grain arrow roughly, and see how it shoots. This is a Port Orford cedar shaft that weighs between 440 and 450 grains. Okay, first arrow. .133. Second arrow. .135. Third arrow. .137. Fourth arrow. .134. Fifth arrow. .132. Sixth arrow. .137. Okay, now let's move to the range bar, the accuracy testing part of this review. and then we'll put 3 on this target as well. I'll be aiming for this center circle here. We're going to move out to 15 yards. This is a lightweight bow. So let's try 15 yards first. I'm not sure where my arrow's going to fall at, so because it's running kind of slow, but let's move to 15 yards and put 3 on here and see what happens. Okay, that's 15 yards, maybe 3 inches, about 1.5 inches above the bullseye. So let's head out to 20 yards and try it now. Okay. Alrighty. That's 2 groups shot at 20 yards. First one here, I got 1 in the bullseye, which is the 10. I got 1 in the 9 and 1 in the 8. Group size about 3 inches. This is a 20-yard group. This is I got 2 in the 9 and 1 in the 8. That's your 20-yard group with that bow. Bow is kind of loud, and believe it or not, it has a little bit of a hand shock to it, which I'm surprised it's a lightweight bow, but it does. There's no stacking to it at all, though. I don't feel any stacking with it, but it is really loud. It got a lot of twangy noise to it, and it does have some hand shock to it. Let's move over to 3D target and try it on that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put 3 arrows in this target here. This is my Delta McKenzie 3D target. I got it shot out, as you can see. But let's go ahead and move back 15 yards and then move back 20 and see what we can do. 3 arrows at 15, 3 at 20. Okay. All right. At 15 and 20 yards, my first 3 shots were these 3 here, which is this one, and this one. That was all in the kill zone, all fairly accurately done. Okay. My last 3 shots, I had 1 flyer. Okay, I told him I released, didn't hit my anchor point right, so I knew it was going to be a flyer. The other 2 hit right where they're supposed to hit at, right in the middle. Okay. All right, let's back up and do some shooting with this thing and see how the tilt of the bow is and everything else, and move and talk about it. Okay, I'm at 15 yards. I'm going to put 3 arrows downrange on my bullseye target and 3 on my deer target. Do the bullseye target first. Okay, 15 yards again. Now we're going to shoot my deer target. Okay, that last group was shot from my 15-yard mark right here. Let's take a look down there and see what it looks like. Start with a bullseye target first. Okay. Okay. Started here, I got 1, 2 in the red and in the 10 zone, and 1 just breaking the red in the 9 zone, so we'll call it a 9. It's more in the 9 than a red. Not bad. It's at 15 yards. Let's look at the deer target now. Okay, deer target. They're all in the kill zone, about a 3-inch group, roughly at 15 yards, so not too bad. It's good to finish strong. Let's head inside and you know what my final thoughts are on this. My final thoughts on this bow, on this Ben Pearson Pony 7020 bow. All right, catch you guys inside. Okay, we're going to move on to the accuracy portion of this test of this Ben Pearson Pony 7020 bow. We're going to shoot 3 arrows onto this target, 3 arrows into here, and see what we can do. All right, move out to, let's try 20 yards, all right? Okay, we're going to move on to the range portion of this target. We're going to put 3 arrows on here and 3 arrows on here to see how it shoots. Okay. Alright, and then we'll put 3 on this target as well. I'll be aiming for this center circle here. We're going to move out to 15 yards. This is a lightweight bow. So let's try 15 yards first. I'm not sure where my arrow's going to fall at, so let's, because it's running kind of slow, but let's move to 15 yards and put 3 on here and see what happens. Okay. That's 15 yards, maybe 3 inches, about 1.5 inches above the bullseye. So let's head out to 20 yards and try it now. Okay. Alrighty. That's 2 groups shot at 20 yards. First one here, I got one in the bullseye, which is the 10. I got one in the 9 and one in the 8. Group size about 3 inches. This is a 20-yard group. Okay. In order to get that group, though, I had to aim down here. About 5 o'clock. Same thing here. I was aiming for this dot here, and everything was sitting up here. So this is, I got 2 in the 9 and 1 in the 8. That's your 20-yard group with that bow. Bow is kind of loud, and believe it or not, it has a little bit of a hand shock to it, which I'm surprised it's a lightweight bow, but it does. There's no stacking to it at all, though. I don't feel any stacking with it, but it is really loud. It got a lot of twangy noise to it, and it does have some hand shock to it. Let's move over to 3D Target and try it on that. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put 3 arrows in this target here. This is my Delta McKenzie 3D target. I got it shot out, as you can see. But let's go ahead and move back 15 yards and then move back 20 and see what we can do. 3 arrows at 15, 3 at 20. Okay. All right. 15 and 20 yards, my first 3 shots were these 3 here, which is this one, and this one. That was all in the kill zone, all fairly accurately done. Okay. My last 3 shots, I had 1 flyer. Okay, I pulled my release, didn't hit my anchor point right, so I knew it was going to be a flyer. The other 2 hit right where they're supposed to hit at, right in the middle. Okay. All right, let's back up and do some shooting with this thing and see how it how the tilt of the bow is and everything else, and move and talk about it. Okay, I'm at 15 yards. I'm going to put 3 arrows downrange on my bullseye target and 3 on my deer target. Do the bullseye target first. Okay, 15 yards again. Now we're going to shoot my deer target. Okay, that last group was shot from my 15-yard mark right here. Let's take a look down there and see what it looks like. Start with a bullseye target first. Okay. Okay. Started here, I got 1, 2 in the red and in the 10 zone, and 1 just breaking the red in the 9 zone, so we'll call it a 9. It's more in the 9 than a red. Not bad. It's at 15 yards. Let's look at the deer target now. Okay, deer target. They're all in the kill spawn, about a 3-inch group, roughly at 15 yards, so not too bad. It's good to finish strong. I just head inside and you know what my final thoughts are on this. My final thoughts on this bow, on this Ben Pearson Pony 7020 bow. All right, catch you guys inside. Okay, everybody, what do you think about that Ben Pearson Pony on the range today? Not the fastest bow, of course, but it's always not meant to be. It's meant to be like an all-around, like school collegiate bow, target bow, inexpensive hunting bow, beginner's hunting bow, we want to call it. My overall shooting impression of the bow, I mean, I'm not big on shooting lightweight bows. Most bows I shoot are in the 50 to 55 pound range. So this bow being at 39 pounds at my draw length is like shooting a toy, and it even sounded like a toy when it went off. So personally, I can't say that I don't like the way the bow shoot. That's because I don't like shooting it's a lightweight bow. I've only done one other review on a lightweight bow. It was a black hunter bow I did for a subscriber of mine. So, and that black hunter bow actually performed a lot better than this bow did at the same weight, which I mean, considering it's a Chinese bow, this was made in America 50 years ago. But overall, I think the bow, for what it is, it did fairly well. Okay, let's talk about what I like about the bow first. I like how lightweight the bow is. All right, I do like the style and the look of the bow. It's an old school look to it. I like the old school look. Okay, I mean, believe it or not, I thought that grip I wouldn't like it, but that grip actually feels fairly good in my hand. It's a nice slim grip. I really like that grip. I didn't think I would like it, but I actually do. Now let's talk about what I don't like about the bow. I don't like about the bow is this crazy rest it has on here, which is like, I don't know what you call that, a little, what do you call it, like that Delmont rest, I think it's Delman rest. It's basically a nylon peg that punches through the riser of the bow. It was very loud, and it didn't shoot really well with it. And I'm used to shooting a center cut bow or cut before center bow. This bow is more like a traditional long bow where you're shooting off your knuckle. And the arrows I was shooting, they were the right arrows for the weight wise, but because of the spine on them, they didn't really bend that much. I've shot a couple arrows from long distance, say 30 and 40 yards, just so I can watch the way the arrow moved. And at 30 and 40 yards, you can see a lot of fishtailing in those arrows. So that tells me those arrows were just a bit over spine for this bow, and the arrows weren't light enough for the arrow to flex around the riser. Okay. If you look down the center of that, this is right in the middle of the riser here, this string, but your arrow's way out here. So there wasn't enough flex in the arrows that I had. I didn't really have any other lighter weight arrows. This probably would work good with like maybe a 25 to 30 pound spine weight arrow. So usually when you're shooting a long bow that's shooting off the knuckle or off your thumb and shoot it out of center cut rest, you need to drop down one spine weight, okay? So probably if I had between a 25 and 30 pound arrow, probably shot better. So, but I'm not going to be making the arrows. I suppose I don't plan on shooting this bow lock, so I really don't like it. I'll probably put it up and give it one of my nieces or nephews when they come over. They can shoot it, but my young kids. But let's go ahead and get to my 6 values of the bow. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Okay, first we'll talk about the quality of the bow. I mean, remember, let me refresh you guys. I base all my bows on 6 criteria, okay? The first being quality, the second being specification of the bow, how good it meets the specs of the bow from the manufacturer. Third is how shootability the bow is. I call that shootability, how quick I pick the bow up and shoot and get on target with it, how comfortable is it to shoot, whether it has stacking or no stacking or bow shock. That's my shootability. Fourth is speed. That's how fast the bow moves its arrows based on 10 grains per pound of draw weight and 12 grains per pound of draw weight hunting weight. And fifth is how quiet the bow is right out of the box without no silencers on it or anything. And sixth is the overall value of the bow. So the first part is quality of the bow. The quality of the bow, I say for a bow that's made in 1970, it's 50 years old. It's held up really well. I mean, there's no issues with the glass on it at all. There's no delamination. I mean, other than the little rub marks from where the arrows that went across the riser at, this bow is in really super condition. I mean, it's held up well for 50 years. So for quality, I'm going to give it a 9, okay? It's just held up so well, okay? Specifications of the bow. Now, specifications of the bow, according to the 1970 Ben Pearson catalog I downloaded, this bow is 35 pounds at 27 inches, which is right on the money, which is what it came out to. So it meets the specs. It's a 60-inch overall bow, which is correctly. That's what the specs are, so it meets that. It uses this one is funny because in the Ben Pearson catalog recommends a 57-inch string instead of a 56-inch string. Normally on a recurve bow you go 4 inches smaller than the overall AMO length, and on a long bow you go 3 inches. But for some reason he wanted to go with a 56-inch string, and I did a test on that. This is the string that came with the bow. This is a 56-inch string, okay? This is a 57-inch string that came with the bow, which is what they recommend, a 3-inch smaller string from Ben Pearson. I put a 56-inch string on there, 1 inch shorter, and the problem with the 1 inch shorter string, my brace side was almost 10 inches. I couldn't get the brace side. So to get your brace side of 8 inches, which is recommended in the catalog between 7.5 and 8 inches, you need to go with a 57-inch string, which technically is a longbow size string. Remember, longbows are based off 3 inches off an AMO rating, so a 60-inch AMO will be a 57-inch longbow string, and recurves are based off AMO as well, but they're 4 inches shorter. So for a 60-inch recurve bow like what this is AMO, normally you go with a 4-inch smaller string, which will be a 56-inch actual length string. But a 56-inch string on this bow gives me over a 10-inch brace height in this thing, which is not going to work with this bow. So you've got to use a 57-inch string on it. So just keep that in mind when you're using these older bows. They were designed different than they are nowadays, and some of the rules we have now don't apply 50, 60 years ago. It's always good to go back to the original manual or the original catalog if you can find it, or get on one of the archery forums and ask about it. So anyway, so we'll go back to specs. So all the specs of the bow match, and I have no issue with the specs of the bow, so we'll get the specs on the bow a 9 as well too. Everything matched perfectly. Shootability bow, and this is where I don't like it at all. The bow, to me, maybe because I'm not usually shooting a lightweight bow, but it didn't have any stacking now. There was no stacking, considered it's a 27-inch draw based on my draw is 29, which is 2.5 inches larger. I didn't feel any stacking on the bow. That could be because I'm used to shooting a much heavier weight bow, and this lightweight bow doesn't feel like a toy to me. But as for bow shock, it had quite a bit of bow shock, and it just wasn't accurate enough. I mean, probably with a good set of arrows on it, tuned properly for it, probably much better to shoot. But what I was shooting with, it just wasn't good. The bow was extremely, had quite a bit of shock to it for a lightweight bow. You usually get bow shock in such a lightweight bow, but this bow had quite a bit of it. And because of this rest, I'm not used to using these little nylon pin rests either, so that kind of threw me off a little bit too. So overall, the shootability, I wasn't really good with. It took me a while to get on target with this bow. I couldn't get on the target right away. And to get on target, I had to aim at 15 and 20 yards. I'd aim really high above the target to get to my point of aim, okay? Normally, I can put my bow pretty much, based on my gap, anywhere, pretty close to the target. But this one, I was aiming almost to the top of the target just to get it just to get it where I needed to go. So, like shooting the deer target, I was aiming above its spine to get the arrows into the kill zone. On the red bullseye target, I was aiming at the top of the black target behind it just to get to the bullseye zone. That's at 15 and 20 yards. So it's got quite a bit of an arc to it. But that also, because of how slow the bow is, which we're going to get to in a minute, has a lot to do with that, okay? So again, this bow will probably perform better with a much lighter weight spine instead of like a 35 to 40 pound spine weight with the bow I'm shooting, maybe a 25 to 30. So shootability, I'm going to give it a 5 because I just did not like the way the bow shot at all, okay? Speed of the bow. The speed of this bow wasn't very fast. I went back to my notes on my Black Hunter bow, 35 pound. It shot so much faster than this bow did. 30, 40 feet a second faster than this bow. The same draw weight, same draw length, same AMO length, everything. The Black Hunter does have a fast fly string. This is a Dacron, but that's usually only good for 3 or 4 feet per second, not 30 or 40 feet per second. So this bow was quite slow. Now I'm kind of surprised, because normally Ben Pearson bows were known for their speed, and a lot of their bows were really, really fast. Back in the day, they were faster than most of the other production bows out there. So maybe the bow is just, over time, the limbs have been shot a lot and losing a lot of their flex to them. I don't know, but the bow is just not very fast. I mean, with a 12 grains per pound of draw weight, you're averaging about 132 to 133 feet per second. And for the 10 grains per pound of draw weight, you're about 150 to 151 feet per second, which is considerably slower than any other bow I've ever tested. It's probably the slowest bow I've ever shot. Even slower than that inexpensive $29 Chinese special I bought. So, but anyhow, so for speed, I have to give it, on this bow, I have to give it a 4, just because it's really slow, all right? But again, the bow wasn't designed, I guess the bow wasn't really designed for speed. Maybe back in the day it was probably 10 or 15, 20 feet a second faster, and it could be because the limbs are worn in. I don't know, but the bow is just really slow. Let me know if you guys have shot these bows before and got comparable speeds or got something faster, because my understanding of Ben Pearson bows, but they were always a much faster bow than most of the competition of the day. All right, quietest bow. This bow is not quiet at all. It is very loud. One of the loudest bows I've ever shot, even louder than that Canon K bow with that metal riser. This thing clangs and smacks and twangs. It's just really loud. Okay. Again, that could be because I'm shooting a lighter weight arrow. If I put a heavy weight arrow, it might have been a lot quieter. But I mean, when you're going over 12 grains per pound of draw weight, you get to 14 or 15. It'd probably been much quieter, but then you'd probably been at about 100 feet per second. You really had would really drop on it. So, bow is really loud. Okay, so for a hunting bow, I don't think it'd be a good bow. Even though it was marketed as an entry-level hunting bow, I don't think it'd be good for a hunting bow. So quietness, we're going to give it a 4 also as well. Now, value of the bow. Now, this bow sold new in 1970 for $22.50. I compared other bows, like bear bows and other bows at the time, and $22.50 was fairly reasonable for this type of bow. Like example, like the bear tiger cat, or the bear black bear bow, which are considered, or the bear cub bow. Those three bows all went from $30 to $40 in price range for 1970. Those are considered beginners, or beginning bows, or starter bows, or inexpensive bows, or combo bows for targeting and shooting. This bow at $22.50 was a really good bargain of the day. I paid $25 for it. And for $25 for it, I mean, I'm not going to complain about the value. Like I said, I'll keep this bow at the house here when my nieces and nephews come over. They're younger than they're like, between 12 and 15 years old. It'd be a good bow for them to shoot with. So we'll leave that value. We'll say the value in this bow is about we'll say a 7 on the value, okay? Overall, on this bow, it's not something I enjoy shooting. I don't like the bow. I probably won't shoot it again. Like I said, I'm just going to stick it up on the wall there, and my neck used to come out, used to them shoot with. But otherwise, I mean, for someone looking for that's got a tight budget, looking for an inexperienced, they never shot before, looking to get into archery, maybe a beginner, okay, this bow might be something you want to look at because it is so inexpensive. I mean, you can find these all day long. These Ben Pearson ponies on eBay for a low of $25, like I paid for it, to a high of no more than like $70 or $75. Okay. So, and for that kind of money for a starter bow, it's pretty decent value. You're not really putting a lot of outlay on money for the bow. So, I'd recommend it for someone never shot a bow before, not used to shooting, or maybe get it for teenagers or younger kids or stuff. Okay. All right. Well, that's been my review of the Ben Pearson Pony 7020 bow, for a 1970 vintage bow. Let me know what you thought about this review. If you liked it, click that like button. Also, be sure to share with your friends and your family. And if you click that bell next to that like button, I can notify you of upcoming videos I have. Speaking of upcoming videos, I've got a couple things coming out. I've got a 1990 vintage Browning compound bow I'm going to do a complete rebuild on and get it set up for hunting and shooting. I've also got a Olympic Target recurve bow coming out soon I'll be doing a review on. And I'm going to be doing a review on a Kodiak Hunter, a Bear Kodiak Hunter real soon as well too. So look for those reviews. They'll be out in the next few weeks, okay? All right, I want to thank you guys for watching, and as always, thank you for your support. You're really building my channel. I'm almost 4,000 subscribers, which blows my mind completely. And it's all because of you guys, and I want to thank you for that. If you haven't already, swing over to my Patreon site, sign up to be my Patreon member. There's a lot of good spiffs and benefits becoming a Patreon member of my channel. Support my channel. All the money I get from that Patreon, I use to buy these bows and purchase these bows. It goes right back into reviews for you. And if there's something you want me to review for you, you can either send it to me, just drop me a comment, and I give you an address. You can send it to me, or you can just put a recommendation. If I can find it, I'll pick it up and try to do a review on it. This bow is done. This bow I actually did a review on for one of my subscribers that asked for it a few weeks ago when we do a review on a pony bow. So I went out, found one, and just did a review on it. So you know who you are. Thank you for the recommendations. And here it is, okay? All right. Well, this has been Todd, All Things Archery and Shooting. Till next time, guys. Ciao.